would like to ask?
Katerina, I just want to apologize. My camera broke, so that's why I'm seeing you, but you can't see me for today. I'm sorry.
It's all right, Katerina. It happens all the time. Don't worry.
I don't know what happened with my camera. Just went off. Poof.
Okay. It's no problem. It'll get fixed. Does anyone else have a question you would like to ask?
I have a question, Stuart. This is Jess. Hi. My question is is this a remembering or a merging or a becoming?
Well, repeat that. Is what? Is what a what?
This developing, this feeling of developing, is it an uncovering or a remembering, or is it a new merging with something that's new? Sorry. I apologize. My question's not clear.
Does it really matter? What really matters, Jessica, is that from the day I met you to today, you have grown so much because of this energy, that it doesn't matter how you define it and how you look at it. It's an unfolding of everything that exists in the universe. It's always been there. It will always be there. It is our lack of consciousness. And this meditation just is like archaeology. We are digging for treasure in ourselves. And we find treasure, and how the rewards are the way our lives change, how our inner life changes, the connection with spirit. Those are the rewards. And certainly since the day you started with me to today, it's amazing how much you have changed and how deep this work has gone into you. How you define it, I have no idea. I can't answer that. Whether it's a becoming or a going back to a memory, who cares? I don't care. All I know is that it opens great treasures inside. And those treasures are things that are buried, they're in the universe, they exist, and we have buried them through a lack of consciousness. And that to me is the only consideration. How you define it, I am not interested, Is it being, is it becoming, and all these philosophical terms, they don't mean much to me. What it is giving life to oneself, regenerating oneself, uncovering buried treasure that exists inside us, tapping into an energy that is infinite in the universe, that gives us the ability to live our lives on a much more creative level. That to me is the key to all of this. And it's one of the reasons I always loved Rudy's work, because it never defined anything. It always was about, unfolding the treasures that exist, digging up these treasures that exist inside us. And then for each person that's here, it's going to manifest differently in their life, because each person is unique. Each person has their own creative existence. So the energy will work for them, in their own unique way. But the heart gets open, we become a different person when we live in the world with consciousness instead of living in the world in this kind of, density of that stems from a lack of consciousness. I don't know if that answered your question, but it seemed like we got to some pretty good deep stuff. Does anyone else have a question? What do we celebrate? Easter is resurrection, Christmas is birth, Passover is, freedom from slavery. all of these things that come down through history celebrate exactly what we do in this meditation. The resurrection of consciousness. You understand? The birth of oneself. The freedom from this kind of density, which is like slavery that we live, that we create for ourselves. I mean, all of these holidays symbolize, they're metaphors for what I'm talking about. And this meditation is simply an opportunity to do this on a day-to-day basis as a living reality, because all of these books that were written and all these things they talk about, they're all about the unfolding of consciousness, the building of a system inside that gets one to a state of spiritual enlightenment, a oneness with God. That's all those books are about. But we need techniques to learn how to do it. And this meditation is simply a craft that enables one to do all the things they talk about in all those books. And then whatever your creative ability, they just flow, you want to write books, books will come. You want to write this, you want to do music, you want to be a great businessman, it'll come. If that's what you're supposed to do in life, that energy will make sure you get it, because you ultimately have to surrender it in order to get your connection to God. You have to learn how to be successful in the world in order to surrender success and to not have it dangling in your brain 24 hours a day. And then the real struggle is, can one let go of it? That's the real struggle. Can we have it and be free of it? Does anyone else have a question they would like to ask? And of course, the greatest success is just being a happy person, for God's sake. That is the ultimate success in life. To live with your heart open, with love, that is it. That's really, you attain that and sustain that, you are an enlightened person. Does anyone else have a question they would like to ask? I always say ask questions, because God knows where the answers go, and it's really interesting and very.
I would like to ask something, but it's just a reminder, I think. Feelings, I mean, they're always right, actually. I mean, I'm more the feelings of intuition. I mean, I guess so, yes, but then again, sometimes I have the idea, I follow my intuition, but it's not always.
Well, look,
intuition
is creative energy flowing through you. You have to develop the craft. Like, for instance, you like to write, Paul. You have to be craft that will mold the intuition into a play or a book or whatever you're working on. You understand? So you need the craft, and then the intuition flows, and that's the inspiration, and then the real work begins. And it's the same thing with life, and everything we do in life. We need to build a system inside that is strong enough to allow that intuition to flow, and then we have to be able to have the craft that allows it to become something really wonderful. So the two of these things work together. I mean, the best example of this are the great composers, Mozart, Bach. I've been listening to Chopin's music lately. It's extraordinary. His nocturnes. You want to go to sleep at night, put on Chopin's nocturnes. Put you right out. Anyway, uh, you know, what I noticed is it's all inspiration, but these people became master craftsmen in order to create these great work of arts that they created, these great pieces of music that they created. So it's a combination of the two. And when we build that kind of craft and that capacity, we are serving God, because then we really can let that inspiration become something extraordinary in our life. Whether it's simply just loving our families, you know, it takes an incredible kind of craft to do that. And that inspiration of love comes, and we can allow it to manifest around us. So it's working together. And our job is to build the system that allows that to happen. And then the universe will take care of the rest. You know, they have a perfect vehicle for allowing this highly inspired energy to flow through. So then it's a combination. It's not just them or us, you know, it's between our work that we have to do here and allowing that energy to flow through us.
In that, my biggest challenge stays to let go the mind. You know, that's really a challenge, I think.
Mind will inhibit everything, Paul. It becomes an obstruction. The best you can do
Yes, I know.
the best you can do with the mind in yourself. And then you can use the mind to guide it a little bit, you know? But upon the mind to create anything, it just creates rational living. It's just boring, you know? It creates a rational way of living, and life doesn't become a great work of art. Our lives don't becomes like everything is the way we think it's supposed to be in life, and we always have a lot of tension and problems.
Exactly.
You got to keep the mind in the navel chakra, because then it builds, and the power of chi allows that energy to flow through us. It's the best thing you can do with the mind. Use it to build the third chakra, the hara. And that allows creative energy to come. And then you can allow that energy to create. In fact, you can even guide it when you do that. That's the struggle, getting free of the mind. We are so conditioned to live there that the struggle is getting free of it. But then if you study the greatest artists, look what, you know, I mean, I was listening to some music by Debussy. I mean, I found this YouTube thing, and they have every conceivable composer under the sun, piano music, maybe 50 different photographs of Impressionist paintings that they showed with this piano music. And you can see the genius of these artists. You can see the inspiration of how it manifests. And this, you know, Monet and Renoir and on, you know, how it manifests canvases, that creative energy. They had the craft, and the energy flowed through and created these almost miraculous works of art. All they did craft, and were able to tap that energy while they worked. I mean, most of them were pretty nuts when they left the studio, but that has nothing to do with what went on in the studio. You know, everything was in a state of surrender there, and these beautiful paintings came. Does anyone else have a question they would like to ask? And just to finish, it's kind of a blessing to live this way. Whatever your karma is, whatever your life is, it gets better. It gets better. And you can master it. Does anyone else have a question?
Again, Stuart, can you maybe explain again what is karma exactly? Because I heard this a lot, you know, and I have an idea what, but it would be nice to hear you explaining it, what it is, karma. You know.
Karma is very simple, Paul. It's everything you do, every act, every part of your life, everything you do living here is your karma.
Mhm.
Now, when you change inside and you grow inside and you interact with life with your heart open, your karma changes. You see the world differently. You act in the world differently. When you're connected to spirit and that energy is guiding your changes, the way you act in the world changes because you've changed inside. So whatever we do, it's karma. Understand? But as we change, if we change and it gets negative, then the karma changes and we, the world becomes this horror house that we live in. So what this meditation is about is building a system that enables one to live more with an open heart, with more love, less rational, less judgmental, and to be a child of God, you know, as a being living in the now, living in the moment, instead of living in the mind, which is always in the past and the future and with ourselves, you know. And the karma changes. We change. So the world we live in. Does anyone else have a question they would like to ask? Okay, well, thank you. God bless you all. There'll be a class on Thursday and looking forward to.
Thank you, Stuart. Thank you. I hope to see you to have a comment.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you so much.
Bye.